Welcome to Bookselling University. My name is Michael Larsen, and I'm an author coach, and I love helping writers. I worked in publishing in New York before moving to San Francisco and starting Michael Larsen and Elizabeth Pomata Literary Agents in 1972. Elizabeth and I were charter members of the Association of Authors Representatives and sold hundreds of books to more than 100 publishers and imprints before we stopped taking new clients. I wrote How to Write a Book Proposal, which has sold more than 100,000 copies, and literary agent Jody Ryan wrote the new 5th edition. I also wrote How to Get a Literary Agent and co-authored Guerrilla Marketing for Writers, 100 Weapons for Selling Your Work. Elizabeth and I are co-authors of the 6 books in the Painted Lady series about Victorian houses, which sparked a national movement and sold more than 500,000 copies. Publishers Weekly chose the 2nd book in the series, Daughters of Painted Ladies, as one of the best books of the year. Elizabeth and I are co-founders of the San Francisco Writers Conference and the San Francisco Writing for Change Conference. I also write for the conference blog and newsletter. It's a pleasure to talk to you, and I want to thank Brian and APSS for making it possible. Before I begin, 2 thoughts. Every book is a book, and every book is different, just like agents, publishers, and writers. You're unique, just like everyone else. So you can't just follow the one-size-fits-all advice you're about to hear. You have to trust your instincts and common sense and just choose what works for you and your book. Content is king. No amount of selling or marketing can make a bad book succeed. But social media guarantees that any book that does deliver well enough will succeed, regardless of who publishes it or how. Now is the best time ever to be a writer. One of the many reasons why is that there are more reasons to profit from your work than ever before. But to take advantage of them, you have to be a contentpreneur. First, you have to be an entrepreneur, the CEO of a one-person, multimedia, multinational business. As CEO, it's your job to look at the possibilities for your ideas in the largest possible way. It's also your responsibility to build a win-win community of collaborators who help you produce, publicize, and monetize your work. To paraphrase Steve Jobs, what you do is a team sport. You also have to be a contentpreneur who repurposes your work in as many forms, media, and countries as you can. This is the basis for 40 ways to build your brand and your income and test market your book. I'm going to go through these ideas briefly to give you a perspective on some of the possibilities you may be able to use for your book. If all it does is spark your imagination, you'll find it helpful. As you can see from the first part of the list, the ideas are divided into 4 parts: writing, subsidiary rights, speaking, and sales. The first part, which you see on the screen here, is writing. And first thing is a printed book. Your book is the hub of a potentially endless wheel of profits. All of the ways that you can make money from it are the spokes that will continue to spin off in all directions as new ways to earn income from your book continue to emerge. Your book is also the basis for your relationship with your readers. If they love your work, you have the opportunity to create lifetime fans who will buy whatever you create. So you can do a series of books, standalones or sequels that tell each other. Now, it may take more than 5 books to build an audience for your work. So the only way to maximize the impact of these ideas is to come up with an idea for a series of books that you will love writing and promoting. Then you can create a career out of your idea, post by post, book by book, talk by talk. But you have to take the long view in developing your craft and your career. If you just want to write one book, you have to decide how much time, effort, and other resources to put into it, when the fate of most books, especially first books, is disappointing, regardless of who publishes them. In any case, you have to align your literary and publishing goals and what it takes to achieve them. Developing chapters and an overview into other books. Some writers are able to write an overview book about a subject, and then develop separate books about one or more chapters. For example, the last chapter of one book can be the preview of your next book, and you can let readers know it's coming. Adapting a book for women into a book for men. Women buy, read, agent, and edit more books than men. But if your book is for women, you may be able to repurpose it for men, so your women fans can buy it for them. Young adult, middle grade, and children's versions of an adult book. This is self-explanatory. Between young people, schools, libraries, and people shopping for gifts, this is a potentially huge continuing market. Since books have to be written differently for each of these levels, you may want to collaborate on these books. Adapting a general book into books for different fields. My most successful business author was a guy named Jay Levinson. He was teaching at University of California, Berkeley Extension, small businesses how to market their business. And he wanted to write a book about it. So he sent me this proposal for a book called The Secrets to Making Big Profits from Your Small Business. But buried in his proposal was the phrase guerrilla marketing. And as soon as I saw that, I knew that had to be the title, and his title became the subtitle. It later went on to become a classic. It was regarded as one of the 100 best business books ever written. And it led to a series of books. There were books on guerrilla selling, guerrilla consulting, guerrilla real estate, guerrilla negotiating, and so on. More than 40 of them. Jay's co-authors wrote the books using the guerrilla approach and got the benefit of the brand that Jay worked tirelessly to build by writing books and speaking around the world. Jay wrote the introductions for co-authored books, and his name came first, so the books would benefit. So the books would be together on bookstore shelves. He was kind enough to let me write guerrilla marketing for writers, and even after his death, guerrilla books still keep coming. The essence of guerrilla marketing is using time, energy, and imagination instead of money for marketing. And this is what small businesses and all writers have to do. A newsletter that attracts advertisers can also promote whatever you're offering. It's a great way to update and supplement your book, to test market new work, to give other writers to have their work accepted so they can reciprocate, and to take advantage of stories in the media to promote the value of your book. Revisions and new editions of your book. The self-publishing pioneer Dan Poynter used to update his self-publishing manual, classic, every year to help get it back into stores. I'm not suggesting you do that, but if it's needed, updating your book is a way to give it new life and an opportunity to promote it again. Changing 10% of a book makes it a revised edition. Changing 30% makes it a new edition. A textbook version of your book. If your book could be a textbook, talk to teachers to see what it would need to be used as a text. If you want to do a textbook version, consider collaborating with someone who has the academic credentials and ability to help you write and promote it. If the trade edition, the one you're writing, has adoption potential for schools at any level, find teachers who agree. Write a teacher's guide they approve. Post it on your website and mention it in the book. A book club guide. If your book has book club potential, find book club members who agree. Test it with groups and ask them to post positive responses to the book online at book club websites. Then write a book club guide and post it on your website and perhaps include it in your book. Offer to speak at clubs in person or by phone or Skype. Booksellers may be able to help you find local groups. A blog. A blog is a newsletter writ small. It's the easiest way to test market your book by getting feedback on it and to promote products, services, and events and build your email list. As with a newsletter, a big enough readership will attract advertisers. Articles. Articles are another way to test market your book. Earn income and use your bio to promote your work and yourself. Better still is if you can get a magazine to serialize most, but not all, of your book. Just be sure editors agree to let you keep the rights to articles so you can use the material in your book. You can also self-syndicate articles for free with easingarticles.com. You'll get exposure from most outlets and occasionally income. The right article in the right place can lead to assignments and sell a book. I sold books about the Sudanese Liberation Army, the SLA, and Jim Jones and the People's Temple, and Harvey Milk for reporters for the San Francisco Chronicle who were writing stories about them. Podcasts. Apart from test marketing your work and interviewing influencers in your field, you can use podcasters to seek sponsors until you grow enough for them to find you, and you can use your content as a freemium, offering some information for free and charging for more. For more discussion of these and other possibilities, check Mashable's 9 successful techniques for making money from podcasting. Videos. Videos can be a powerful way to test market your book and generate attendance at events, book deals, and sales. And they don't have to be professional quality. Thanks to cell phones and cameras, videos are easier to shoot than ever. You can start your own YouTube channel. As civilization evolves from words to images, you have to try to give every aspect of what you produce visual appeal. The next section is subsidiary rights. First is ebooks. Print books aren't going away soon, but ebooks will be the most common way for readers around the world to find and read books. By 2020, there will be 5 billion smartphones, and you're writing in the international language of culture and commerce. Most new writers are self-publishing, and ebooks are the easiest way to start doing it. Downloadable audiobooks. Because readers have so many opportunities to listen to books throughout the day, and technology makes it so easy to produce, buy, and listen to them, downloadable audio is the fastest growing part of the industry. So if your book lends itself to audio, take advantage of this growing opportunity. Foreign rights. There's a world of readers hungry for stories and information. First, make sure you have the right to sell foreign editions of your book. Then use How Authors Are Selling Rights by Helen Sedgwick and Orna Ross to show how to pursue this and other rights opportunities. That's How Authors Are Selling Rights by Helen Sedgwick and Orna Ross. Downloadable DVDs. If, for example, you're doing a how-to book, doing a professional quality video version of your book may be a possibility. You could give the first chapter or the first part of every chapter away as a sample. It might even make sense to try selling sample chapters, to sell chapters separately. Movie or television series. Movie or television sales are very difficult to make happen. But if your story is compelling enough, it's worth a try to find a film agent to help you. 2 suggestions. Find a literary agent who also sells movie rights, or find an agent who will refer you to a film agent he or she works with. Movie rights may take a long time to come about. We sold a book called Raven for Tim Reiterman, a reporter who was wounded in Guyana, about this book about People's Temple. And it came out. It's a very good book, got good reviews, won an award, but didn't really sell well. However, 30 years later, Dutton picked it up and reprinted it in paperback. They even sold enough copies to go back to press. And lo and behold, HBO picked it up, and Olivia Spencer bought it, and she's now turning it into an HBO series. Here's another story. I have one article led to a movie, and the movie made a bestseller for us. There was a story about a dancer in Brooklyn. It was a fabulous dancer. This is a story that was in New York Magazine. And it led to the creation of a low-budget movie with actors nobody had heard of. But this low-budget movie became a blockbuster. And when there was a story about it, and about the opening of disco dance palaces around the country, on the first page of the New York Times, we were able to sell a book called Complete Guide to Disco Dancing by Karen Lustgarten in 2 weeks. And Warner Books sent it around the country to 19 cities, spent $50,000 promoting it, a lot of money at the time, and it had a healthy run on the New York Times bestseller list. Now, the next section is speaking. That classes, teaching is a great way to test market your information. Fine-tune the most felicitous ways to express your ideas and test the impact of anecdotes. If you're offering practical advice, you can get paid to share your knowledge. Your classes can be as short or long as you wish, and you can also offer one-on-one follow-up sessions. Teleseminars, webinars. Online classes like this are another source of income that enable you to test market your work and reach audiences around the world. Talks for corporations, nonprofits, conventions, schools, and colleges. If you can get paid to speak, the biggest income from your book may be in talks and bulk or back-of-the-room sales, which I'll talk about shortly. Nonprofits and corporations pay up to 7 figures to speakers for their events. But even continuing 4-figure fees for a 1-hour talk will make you a healthy living, especially if you can sell books afterwards, or better still, if the organization bringing you in buys books for the audience. Events you sponsor or co-sponsor. If the need your book fills is great enough, you may be able to create events around it. For example, if your book is about gardening, you can build a spring gardening event around it, and perhaps find a provider of related products or services like a gardening supply store to co-sponsor it. If the event works well enough and your co-sponsor has a national presence, like Home Depot, the business may be willing to send you around the area or the country to do the event. Every talk you give is an audition. You can never tell who may hear you or who they may tell about you. This goes for free talks, for libraries, service organizations, churches, professional and trade organizations, alumni associations, schools, trade shows, and writers' conferences. Free talks are a great way to get started as a speaker. There are many organizations that meet regularly and need speakers, so it's a win-win. One challenge for talking to as many different kinds of organizations as you wish is customizing your talks. If, for example, you can give your talk a spiritual slant, you can offer to speak at Lutheran, Unity, and Unitarian churches, and the United Church of Christ, which welcome authors. And if a church doesn't have a bookstore, you can sell books. This is only one way to make free talks pay for themselves. Others include asking help with travel expenses, asking the organization to buy a certain number of copies from you or the publisher to sell. Another is to have a flyer that invites listeners to an upcoming event, describes your other products and services, and includes your contact info. You can also have a sign-up sheet for the audience to be on your emailing list. When Elizabeth and I were doing the Painted Ladies books, we spoke in 30 different cities. And it must be said that Dutton paid the airfare as we traveled. But every time we got to a town, we would talk to preservation or historical societies. And they would pick us up at the plane. They would get us a place to stay. They would feed us, bring us to the talk, and then bring us to where we were staying, and then bring us back to the plane the next morning. And they would buy copies, non-returnable copies at a discount to sell, which made the event a fundraising event. They would promote it in local media. And it was total win-win. They got more people than they usually would to their meetings and generate some new memberships. So it really worked well. Toastmasters is a great way to practice, develop your speaking skills. And if you want to speak professionally, I would suggest that you join the National Speakers Association. It's toastmasters.org and nsaspeaker.org. They're very helpful organizations, both of them. Coaching, consulting, and training. These are all things that are based on the information in your book, and they're services that you can offer one-on-one and to groups in the United States and abroad, in person or by phone or Skype. And every time you speak is an opportunity to learn more about how you can use what you know and learn to help your audiences. The final section is sales. Special sales are non-returnable bulk sales you can make to businesses and nonprofits for them to sell or give away the books. If a customer is willing to pay for it, you can customize your book by adding the name of the organization to the cover and perhaps the name of the head of the organization who, perhaps with your help, can write a foreword for the special edition for them. You can approach potential purchasers with a copy of your book and a one-page letter with a list of bullet points showing how your book will benefit them. You can customize the letter for different organizations. You can sell books, products, and services at events and conferences. an event at a bookstore, they would usually order books if you're speaking, or may take books on consignment. If there's no store, see if you can have a table or booth to sell books, products, and services, and have a sign-up sheet for your blog or newsletter. You can give discounts for multiple books in bulk quantities. 1 free for 10 is a traditional way that sales reps use to convince booksellers to order more copies. You can offer a discount or a free book if somebody buys enough books. Then there's bundling books, products, and/or services at a discount. Orville Ray Wilson, who co-authored 3 of the Gorilla books, used to shrink wrap several Gorilla books and audios and sell the bundle at a discount. Starting a business or nonprofit. If your book enables you to provide continuing products and services, start a business or nonprofit to provide them. Membership in an organization you start. Starting an organization, online or off or both, provides you with a platform to help your fans as often and as many ways as you can. Can help you build your email list, test market your work, and guarantee sales for whatever you produce. So you can obviously use your website to sell products and services. Think of it as a store, and you create a digital commerce mechanism for doing that. You can also have reciprocal selling of others' books, products, and services. You may be able to collaborate with other authors to promote and sell each other's books. You can have local businesses sell your books. You may be able to collaborate with local stores on selling books in exchange for promoting their books and promoting their products or services, perhaps with a coupon or for a gift or a discount. If you're writing a book about food, see if grocery stores or supermarkets will stock it. If there's a sweet spot in the calendar for your book, if it ties into a season or holiday, try to get stores to stock it for that time. Would your local C's sell your book on love for Valentine's Day? Use your email list to sell products and services. Chicken Superman Jack Canfield once said that the biggest difference between rich and poor authors is an email list of fans you can write to about whatever you want to sell and promote. You can use your website, business card, email signature, and events to offer a freebie to build your list. Next are 2 crowdfunding sources. Crowdfunding enables you to raise a specific amount of money to write or promote your book in exchange for whatever you can for different levels of support. Patreon is a crowdfunding sourcing platform that enables readers who like your work to contribute as much as they wish to support it. One of our writers is receiving $1,200 a month for posting her work once a week, which enables her to keep writing. If you check how writers are using both of these crowdfunding sources, you can see if they will make sense for your book. A few closing thoughts. You're only limited by your imagination in the ways you can profit from your work, and new ways keep appearing. None of the ideas I mentioned are new. Authors are already using them. So follow what authors in your field are doing, and do what they do, but try to do it differently and better. Creativity and innovation are the secret sauces that only you can bring to every aspect of your work. Technology gives your work a long tail. As long as your work is available and you're out there hustling, your books will keep selling. And if you keep growing as a writer and a speaker, and you keep using social media to build and serve the communities of people you need to succeed, your work will reach a tipping point that will assure your continuing success. The more you do to fulfill your book's potential, the more you'll fulfill your potential as a writer. And I wish you the best of luck doing it. I want to thank Brian again for making this possible, and thank you for taking the time to listen to these suggestions. I hope you find them helpful, and you're welcome to call or write me if you have questions. Many thanks for listening.